Pretty fun. Hey, welcome back with us, week 5 of the business hour. So this is actually going to be the first week of our new format. We're going to be a little quicker with this show. It kind of split off a couple things into their own videos. First thing we want to talk about this week, Andrew.
What a team.
Well,
Holy crap.
Man, he's really pulled it together.
After losing the first 2 games of the year, he's come back and won his next 3
games,
I think there's something significant about that.
Yeah, this is the first time in Andrew's career in our league with a 3-game win streak.
Wow.
He's never won more than 2 games in a row before. And on top of that, this is the first time that he's been above 500 after week 3.
Very impressive.
So, it all started when we inducted him into the Hall of Shame. I think it lit a fire under his ass. And
got a little chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, he's turned it around a little bit. So
good for him. Also, little known fact, Justin's brother.
Yeah, very little known fact. Most of you had no clue.
Yeah.
So he's doing really well this week. Another surprise team. We got the Illegals. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I hate them. I think they might be the team that I hate this week.
Yeah.
My God. Somebody beat him. Just beat him. He didn't draft a running back. Just somebody win. So somebody win against him. He's the number 1 team this week.
Yep.
Number 1 team.
Yeah. He's still just plodding away with his original draft roster.
Yeah.
He's only made 1 move this year, and that was to pick up Justin Forsett, which may be the pickup of the season so far.
Yeah, what a wonderful pickup.
Yeah.
Undrafted running back, 6th highest scoring running back in the league right now, or approximately. I'm not sure.
It's pretty crazy,
but that's insane.
It's pretty crazy. Speaking of teams that surprisingly are doing really well, and teams that we hate.
Mm-hmm.
Bring in the Lobster Bisque. He's currently in 5th place. However, he's the top scoring team in the league right now. I know he had a huge week last week, scored almost like 350 points.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the worst teams in the league last year, and he's really turning around. I hate him. I'm playing him this week. I really need Arian Foster to break a leg or something. That would be great. And then on top of that, I told him weeks before the draft that I was going to take Eddie Lacy 4th because I found more value in him than like Marshawn Lynch and a couple other guys. And he turned around and drafted Eddie Lacy 3rd. So
what an asshole.
Yeah, I'm still upset about it, even though I got Matt Forte instead. And Forte has actually outscored Lacy every single week. It's funny, Lacy scored 46 points last week, and Matt Forte. Matt Forte still scored 55.
Forte's on pace to catch 115 passes this year, which is good for a wide receiver.
Which is amazing for a wide receiver.
Yeah, it's unreal. I think maybe only 2 players have done that in the past 5 years.
Something like
Wes
that.
Welker might have been one of them, and Calvin Johnson maybe.
It's crazy.
That's pretty elite company, bud.
So that's pretty interesting. The league's definitely taken shape. We got a lot of teams that are really close to each other, standings-wise. It's going to be really fun to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, top 7 teams are only 60 points apart.
Yeah, it's crazy. Only 60 points between the top 7 scoring teams.
Right.
On top of that, we've got 10 teams that are either 3-2 or 2-3 or something like that.
Yeah, most everybody's muddled right in that area. So, you can make a big jump this week. Justin's in 10th place, but with the right set of circumstances, you can go all the way up to 4th place.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah, if I win, and then I think if Slimmer and Bill lose, as long as I score decently, I could jump up to 4th place. It'd be nice.
Okay.
So.
It'd be remarkable. It's never too late.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting season. I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Yes, it's going to be good.
And I hope I do well. So,
you don't.
I guess another thing that you had brought up, last week we started talking about the notes in fantasy football, and you had mentioned a really funny one to me earlier tonight.
Oh, yeah. Was it Chris Johnson for the Jets? In the notes, they always have, the headline. And then right below that, there's, a short summary of what you're about to read, and then the fantasy expert give you, an advice or something like that. Well, the tagline was a quote from Chris Johnson that says, "Chris Johnson, I want more carries." The summary for the article was Chris Johnson wants more carries. I thought that was hysterical. Like, that's genius. That's genius in its simplicity. There were a couple other really, really funny notes this week. I think there was one about Bishop Sankey that we were talking about. What was that one?
Yeah, Bishop Sankey. It was pretty funny. It was, last week they had talked about all week long how Sankey has been doing more with his carries than anybody else on the team. Ken Wisenhunt was promising to get him more carries. Said that he really wanted him to work on his footwork. After he worked on his footwork, he'd be able to take over as the leading back on the team. The fantasy guy wrote the advice, said, well, if you wanted somebody with better footwork, you should have drafted Fred Astaire. So
that was hysterical.
It was really funny. But then after the game, they followed it up by saying that even though after Sankey was promised more carries all week long, he still only got 8 carries. And even though he was out-touched with his 8 carries by Sean Green, who plotted his way to like 20 yards rushing or something like that, they said that Bishop Sankey still averaged like 8 yards a carry, something stupid. I don't know, something great.
They said they were going to give him work, and what did they do? They didn't let him in.
They didn't let him in. Exactly.
Teases.
So that was pretty humorous. And then I know there was another one with Torrey Smith that was pretty funny as well.
Oh yeah, Torrey Smith and Joe Flacco. Torrey Smith was targeted 9 times in the last game. He only caught 3 of those passes. And so it was another disappointing effort. The chemistry between Joe Flacco and Torrey Smith just isn't there. It's almost as if they've never played together before.
Yes.
Which is pretty fun.
It's pretty funny and it's pretty fair.
Yeah, it's fair to say. Tough year for Torrey Smith this week. What a disappointment.
I know Torrey Smith is a front runner for like Bean Flicker of the Year right now.
Oh yeah, he's way up there.
But we've got a couple other guys this week that were huge Bean Flickers, potentially costing one person this game. And I know you benefit from it.
Oh yeah, Larry Donnell, that number, and his number was 0.
Yeah.
I was projected to lose to Bill last week by 45 points, and I knew I wouldn't have any trouble meeting my projection, but I just never thought in a million years that Bill would score as low as he did.
Yeah.
Had a very, very unlucky week. Larry Donnell puts up 0 after putting up 37 the week prior, which, I think I only won by 20 points. So just a handful of targets to Larry Donnell, and a couple of balls bounced the right way, and that is a different game, and the landscape of the league is different as well.
Yeah. Yep.
So
it's kind of it's good for you and me that Bill lost because Donnell was flicking his bean instead of playing football.
It's gonna be dry.
I know somebody else has really been suffering. I mean, we've talked a lot about the top running backs that have been drafted have really been insignificant. And LaShawn McCoy, he's struggled. Players like that. But something we haven't talked about is Calvin Johnson.
Oh, God.
Who, for the second week in a row, Calvin Johnson's a bean flicker as well.
Somebody give that man a hand job.
Yeah. Give him a hand. I mean, help him out. Instead of playing like Megatron, he's been playing like Minortron. It's been really bad. So I know Dylan, he's really been suffering with Calvin Johnson underperforming.
Yeah.
I think Johnson's got like a total of 5 points the last 2 games or something like that. Now he's potentially going to miss a couple weeks. So.
Which really sucks because he's not like a Reuben Randall or Jarvis Landry or any of those guys where you could just, depending on the matchup and if the player's right. Calvin Johnson's somebody you start every week no matter what. It doesn't matter if he's out there on crutches or not. So it's really, really unfortunate for Dylan that he's just has his hand glued in his twat. It's very, very unfortunate.
Something else, I had asked you guys to give some suggestions for ideas for the show, and we're going to try to work some of them in. One thing that we are going to incorporate this week, suggested by Rodney, the Gothic Assholes. It's the only thing positive he's contributed to this league this year with his team being so terrible.
Other than somebody to make fun of a whole lot for being dumb.
So Rodney suggested the pickup of the week. We should cover like who made the best pickup and talk about it. And,
I think I know a little bit about this one.
And do you know who I think the pickup of the week is, Jordan?
No. Well, I might, but we should tell the audience.
Linebacker for the Oakland Raiders, Nick Roach.
No, say it ain't so.
Yes.
Why would he be the pickup of the week?
So, funny story. Jordan drafted Nick Roach, got him pretty late. Roach had a great season last year, just put up tackles left and right. Oakland's defense is on the field all the time. And Jordan drafted him. I was disappointed.
Poor man's Paul Posluszny.
Yeah, he's a poor man's Paul Posluszny. So Jordan drafted him. I was upset at the draft. I really wanted him. But then the end of the preseason, he got a concussion, missed a handful of weeks. I know I've been following his status all season long, just waiting for that opportunity to pick him up. Jordan, you've been doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan was lucky enough to pick him up off free agency this
I
week.
snagged that motherfucker hard.
Yeah, it's I had him on my watch list. I planned on waking up Wednesday morning, picking him up first thing, and just holding on to him, see how he played out. I go to pick him up, and Jordan had him. I was so upset. Then, about 4 hours later, I'm checking Jordan's lineup, and there's a big red note next to Nick Roach, and then there's an IR under it saying that Nick Roach was added to the injured reserve for the rest of the season, done for the year. So that may be one of the quickest pickups ever. What'd you have him for, Jordan? 2 hours, 3 hours?
Right, yeah, I'd say between 2 and 4 hours,
Yeah,
somewhere around
yeah.
there.
So
So worth the pickup.
that's our stone cold lock of the week for
It
best
also
pickup.
it also put me in the front running for the Juggler Award. I'm coming for you.
Jordan's trying to retake his throne, trying to be the biggest mover of the year. So
That's my position. That's my award. I'm very sad that I lost it last year.
So
I've got a lot of competition from the illegals though, so who knows?
yeah, with his one pickup.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, make some suggestions if there's some things you would like to see. And we'll try to work them in if we can. And I guess we'll see you next week on the Business Hour.
Sayonara.
Peace.
Didn't we go to high school with him?
That was Dave Roach.
Dave Roach.
Good old Papa Roach.
Davey Gravy.
Oh, Dave. Oh, that guy.